Yo, what's poppin', bagel bros? Sorry in advance if you hear roaring wind in the background. It's not very pleasant outside where I am. I'm recording in my garage, and so it'll probably be oh dear God, what was that? I heard like the fucking wood in the roof of the garage creaking. So yeah, once again, sorry in advance for that, but we're back to the rant rapids. This one comes from Funky Boy Haas, who says, "You know what I want. Get your ass back in the fields, boy." You see, the reason why it's storming outside is because I have to engage with an old foe, an old nemesis of mine, Tsukihime. See, the month prior to sending me this rant request, my good old friend Funky Boy Haas, he was like, "Hey, read Tsukihime. It's peak fiction, I promise." And then I infamously I tell you, dangle my shitty phone in front of my laptop screen and talk about why it's actually a degenerate piece of trash made for stupid people. Now, I had only played like 2 hours of the game by that point, and I was going down Shiel's route, or Seal, however you pronounce it. And so, this time, I was originally going to port my save over from my laptop. However, it didn't work. I probably did something wrong, but I decided, you know what, just fresh install on my new PC. And I immediately skipped ahead to the first choice and proceeded to choose completely differently, because Seal is a boring character. She is a dogshit character. Her only character trait, as far as the first few hours of the game are concerned, is just being vaguely pleasant to everyone. And my experience was much better not having to hear her babble on about nothing all day. However, that does not stop the core issue of all the characters blabbing on about nothing all day. That is my big issue with Tsukihime right there. If I had to just summarize everything wrong with this fucking visual novel, it'd be that every character speaks way too long and it's never about anything interesting. And even the things that are potentially interesting are exposited in such a dry manner that they immediately lose all intrigue that they could possibly have. Every character speaks as if they are written. They do not, there's no, "Yo, what's up, man? How's it hanging, man? How's your day?" Right? I know that's using English slang, and that's not necessarily going to translate directly into Japanese, but there are still, plenty of anime out there that give the impression of casual conversation even without necessarily using that lingo. Whereas the characters in Tsukihime, they always speak sort of stiffly and what comes across in English, at least, as formally. Now, maybe that's not how it reads in the original translation of the novel, and by translation I mean just the original language it was written in, Japanese, but at the very least in the English translation that I am reading, that is very much how it feels. It feels like every character speaks stiffly and not at all like a human being. And furthermore, every character is constantly explaining the personalities of specifically the main character. They're like, "Oh yeah, the best friend dude who I'll never fucking remember the name of because he's so forgettable. He's like, "Oh yeah, my dude Tonoshiki, he's like this, he's like that. Hey, Seal, he's just that kind of guy," right? Couldn't even fucking remember what he was talking about, because guess what? It's boring. I tap out whenever I see that. I want to experience how a character is, not be told it repeatedly. And so when each character takes their turns to explain, "Oh, that's the kind of person you are," and when the main character constantly monologues to himself, "Huh, I guess that's the kind of person this character is," it immediately takes me out of the experience and go like, well, why the fuck should I pay attention to the characters? Because the novel is just going to condescend to me every 5 goddamn minutes and tell me what they're about anyway. So why should I pay attention to the humdrum of the boring as fuck conversations when at the end I'll just get a recap and be like, okay, this is what the fuck you were supposed to get from this. Hey, this bitch is like this. This character is like that. It's very, very bad writing. writing. And as I said previously, everything is too long, it's too drawn out. I thought that Nisio Isin was long until I read this fucking visual novel, and just 3 hours of it, mind you. I'm only about 3 hours in, and even in those 3 hours I've gotten infinitely less plot progression than what would happen in any Nisio Isin novel by this point. Because when Nisio Isin has conversations, granted in Monogatari, it can be a little much, specifically in the novels. But for Zaregoto, fuck, I mean, the plot would have, there'd be things happening, there'd be anything happening by this point in the story. Even though Zaregoto novels do tend to start pretty slowly, you'd at least get introduced to each character in a way that actually made you care about them. Whereas in this visual novel, you read about, a bunch of characters you don't fucking care about, and then this is the tragedy of it, because I finally got to the point where I was experiencing new content instead of old content, just with different choices. So I spent about the first 20 or 30 minutes of my new playthrough just now being like, alright, let's just skip through like these new choices or whatever. You get this long fucking dialogue from the classmate, the female classmate who I can already tell I do not give a single fuck about and will never give a single fuck about, talking about how in the wee olden days when they were children, he saved her from being stuck in the gym closet, I'm pretty sure, the gym shed. Who the fuck cares? It lasts so long, by the way. It goes on, this scene goes on forever. It just keeps going, and she keeps talking about how, oh man, Tono, I always wanted to talk to you, man. I still remember this, I still think about it and smile. You're fucking pathetic. You're fucking pathetic. Oh my god. Well, how old were you? Fucking 12? You were fucking 12 when that happened, and you're in high school, and you're still thinking about it. What the fuck is wrong with you, you degenerate piece of shit? Right? I will never give a fuck about this girl. But then, and once again, this is the criminal part, things actually get kind of okay. Because then Tonoshiki goes home to his new fucking mansion, right? And I've noticed a pattern ever since the first Zaregoto novel. Maybe I'm just a mansion guy. Maybe I just like the aesthetic of maids and mansions. And, I mean, there's we get to meet Tono's little sister, Akiha. I like little sisters. I like sisters in general. And so immediately things improve tenfold. I'm actually kind of enjoying myself for the first time after 2.5 hours total of playing this visual novel. Finally, things are kind of picking up. There's maids. They are, god damn, the ceiling is creaking. Mother Nature does not want me to finish this rant, but I gotta do it, right? For the first time, I'm actually kind of having fun. We've got Kohaku and Hisui, the two maids. I can actually remember their names as opposed to the fucking best friend character and the random classmate girl who I could not give less of a fuck about. I can actually remember who they are and something about their personalities. Akiha immediately proves herself to be the best character in the entire novel so far because she has kind of an endearing personality. She's very sharp. She is not very friendly on the outside, but she's not a fucking, generic tsundere. She is capable of showing kindness, and that's I kind of respect that about her, how they didn't go the route of, hey, yet another tsundere. They were like, no, this is actually a human being who acts like this for reasons, but also is completely capable of being a normal fucking person, except for the fact that it's trapped in this story with all the writing issues still present. It's still, the conversations are too long. They don't have anything interesting about them. I don't think there was ever an attempt at telling a joke, or at least not one that I could register. The banter was just kind of there to have banter, to give the vague impression that yes, these guys are friends. They do in fact joke around with each other, but none of it's funny, none of it's endearing. You hate all the characters. Look, I wouldn't be completely opposed to playing more of this visual novel, but the problems are so fundamental that even if we're in this setting for, a little bit, once we move on from that, what'll happen? What happens when fucking Shiel is back in the story? You want to know what'll happen then? I'll be bored as shit and click off. So, yeah, it's safe to say I do not like this series. It is bad, it is cringe, and I'd rather not play it. Alright, that's your rant. I fucking hate Tsukihime. See ya.